If you back up a little, um, yeah, why don't why don't I read the last paragraph there for context?
Okay.
Okay. The garden at Shelley House was secluded, but it could be entered by anyone from the street also. Since Via Caldana was built on the side of a hill, Via Caldana was the new house that they the next house that they got with a vast unobstructed view of the Riviera. It did not have such easy access. Uh, that's what Baba wanted, um, more privacy. Page 360, Mani's diary, August 15. Left Shelley for Via Caldana. Madame and her cat welcomed us. Nice big house, lovely garden terrace. August 16, before supper, walked through the woods belonging to the house. Via Caldana was quite grand. Inside, a sweeping marble staircase led upstairs to a broad hallway with carved tables against a large mirror on the wall. Everything was very elaborate, said Mehera. They found a master bedroom where four of them, Mehera, Mani, Khorshid, and Nadja, could stay comfortably. Attached to their bedroom was another room with a small sink where they could change clothes. A bathroom with two more sinks and a bathtub was nearby. The room had large bay windows and was filled with light. In the daytime, they could see fashionable people with umbrellas, some sunbathing on the beach by the picturesque bay. In the evening, the lights around the bay reflected in the water, forming a necklace of twinkling lights. The reflection in the water looked beautiful, Mehera observed. At night, we used to look out of the windows with Baba and admire the view. They did not have to put up with one discomfort. Oh, sorry, they did have to put up with one discomfort. Though it was summer, the nights were cold, and the linen sheets on the bed felt like ice. To get into bed was a fright. Sunamasi and Walu stayed next door in a medium sized bedroom, and Kitty's room was at the end of the hall. Norina, Elizabeth, and Rano were in bedrooms on the top floor, where Baba also had a room at the end of the corridor. Once, Mara and the other women were taken to see Baba's room. It was a nice room, not lavish, but open. You could see the sea from the terrace. Downstairs was a spacious drawing room with a piano and more exquisite furniture. An anteroom for visitors, which had a telephone and a writing table, a dining room, and an alcove near the marble stairway. A kitchen and a maid's room were towards the back, with a cold room next to the kitchen, where fruit and vegetables were stored on shelves. Another villa called Capo di Monte had been rented for the men Montali, the many Western lovers, and other visitors. Baba breakfasted in the dining room at Via Caldana with the Eastern women and then went to Capo di Monte to be with those who had journeyed to Cannes to see him. Usually he rejoined the women for lunch, but sometimes not. Kitty had been instructed to bring 2 English maids, but she had only been able to find one. Baba did not want to hire any local persons to do the housekeeping, since it was thought that this would lead to gossip being spread. What he wanted was a young woman from the Baba family. Irene Billow, 20 years old and the daughter of the Swiss Baba lover, was therefore called to help with the household chores. She had never met Baba or the others before. Irene, the title of this chapter, by the way, is Gopis on the Riviera. Irene related that when she first arrived in Cannes, she felt that she was treated like a servant, particularly by Norina. But I didn't dare say anything, otherwise, they wouldn't have given me any work. I wanted to work. They even offered to pay me something, but I refused, as my father had given me some pocket money. I never felt tired. Well, no wonder she's only 20. No matter no matter how much cooking, cleaning, or dishes I did, I didn't mind. I had never done rough work like this at home. We had servants. Here, somehow, I didn't mind doing it for Baba. Irene stayed in the maid's room near the kitchen, which was directly under Baba's bedroom. At night, light from Baba's room filtered through her window. I used to stand at the window, thinking I would catch a glimpse of Baba's shadow. His shadow looked like a giant. Though Baba was 168 centimeters tall and I was 170 centimeters, I always felt that Baba was much taller than Mehera always spoke fondly of Irene Billow, and it is easy to see why this attractive, gregarious country girl appealed to her. Young, big boned, and open natured, Irene was a cheerful person with curly auburn hair. She was strong. She knew how to sew, knit, and cook, and all about horses.
Yeah.
Like Mara herself, Irene was not an intellectual, but a practical sort of person. We felt very at home with Irene, said Mani. Her openness in talking. You didn't have to cross your T's and dot your I's in talking to her. Irene, however, admitted that she had moods with some of the others, like Norina. We used to make fun of Norina's intellectualism, philosophy, and so on, Irene said, as I wasn't interested in this side. Irene and Kitty, however, got along as Kitty was more involved in the domestic side of the group's life. She and Irene had breakfast together most mornings. Irene did one thing that totally baffled the Eastern women, especially Mara. Mara hated a schedule of any kind, but Irene, true to her Swiss upbringing, made out a timetable for her entire day, down to the minute. Early in the morning, Irene heated the bath water in the kitchen. Baba was up early too and came to the kitchen and embraced her. Baba was pampering me when I was young, said Irene. I could have easily been sidetracked. On the days he didn't come, I felt terrible. Irene was put in charge of the husky, Canute, while Elizabeth looked after her own dog, Kippy. Kippy loved Canute, but Canute could not have cared less about Kippy. Canute was a most unresponsive dog. In Nosek, he had chased the neighbor's chickens so much that the farmer had said he would shoot him if he was not kept under control. Elizabeth tried everything to dissuade him, even tying a dead chicken around his neck, but nothing worked. Rano cared for Canute for a while and said that, unlike most animals, he was unresponsive to Baba as well. Baba didn't have much use for humans or animals who didn't respond to him. While Canute was in Irene's charge, he got sick, and she diligently nursed him. Later on, Irene was to go to India, yet when she returned, Canute did not even recognize her. He had totally forgotten her. Next reader, please.
Who would like to read next?
I can read.
Okay.
Irene was responsible for cleaning and vacuuming Baba's room also, while he was out of the house. In addition, she and Kitty cooked meals for Baba and the other women over a large old-fashioned cast iron stove in the kitchen. Baba had told the Eastern women not to do any cooking. They had done enough in Meherabad. He had brought them to France to rest and be comfortable, he said, not to work. We were always feeling hungry in Cannes, Mehera said. Perhaps it was the change and the cool air. Or perhaps, as Mani often narrated, it was because they were so unaccustomed to using a knife and fork. They wanted to appear cultivated in front of the Westerners, but they simply had no practice with silverware. We practically starved in Cannes because of this, Mani said, exaggerating. Oh, okay. It was so awkward, Mehera agreed. Baba asked when they told him later, why didn't you say something? Mehera said, and looked like junglies, uncouth persons. How could we? To make matters worse, during their first meal in Cannes with the Westerner, the person was left-handed. She picked up her fork with her left hand, so the women mistakenly thought that they too must use their left hand. Irene and the English maid. Wait a minute, I lost my place.
Irene and the English maid.
I know, but I lost my place.
There it is.
Okay, I got it. Irene and the English maid served the food at the table, holding out the standard fare of spaghetti or boiled cauliflower on platters. The Eastern women felt quite ill at ease about being served in this way. Sunamasi felt the most uncomfortable with the women Western-style dining arrangements. One lunchtime, when everyone was gone downstairs, Mehera noticed that Sunamasi was still in her room. She went there and asked, Masi, it's time for lunch. Aren't you hungry? Yes, I am very hungry, but I feel so uneasy at the table. Surprised, Mehera asked why, and Mossy explained. They bring those long, long things, spaghetti, and Irene holds it out like this, arms extended. I put one on my plate and want to take more, but I feel too embarrassed. How are we supposed to take it and eat it? Mehera laughed. To add to Mossy's discomfort, when Irene brought out platters of grapes and served them, Mossy picked up a bunch but could not break the stem. She tried to cut it with a knife, but all the grapes except one fell off, and Mossy was too shy to take more. I'm reading the sidebar. At that time, Mani herself was not so comfortable with some modern conveniences. The first time Mani used the telephone was in Cannes. Rano told her that she would phone from the other villa. But when she called, Mani was so flustered she could not speak. Well, that's saying something. Okay. Every day Mossy felt nervous about coming downstairs to eat, Mehera said. She was self-conscious about making a faux pas. It was an ordeal for her. She was not used to all this. Though Walu enjoyed the salads with dressing, she too hated the kind of plain food served at every meal. My father's father never ate such food, she complained privately. Why should I? Mani countered, your father's father never sat in a motor car. Does that mean you shouldn't either? It was very difficult to get Walu to do something, to change. Mani explained, and yet when we went to Cannes, she adjusted beautifully, eating with a knife and fork, much more than Mossy and the others. Walu preferred to eat seated on the floor, but Baba told her to sit at the table with the others. They had taken ready-made curry powder to France for Baba's food, though, and when Baba was at their villa for lunch, Naja assisted by Walu, prepared rice and dal for him. Once, Baba told Naja to cook spiced dal and rice for everyone. They would have an Indian dish that day. When Walu sat at the table for lunch, she was so pleased to see her unusual fare that she took the entire platter of rice onto her plate. Kitty had to tell her that it was for everyone. And Mehera commented, we too were quite happy that day to have our own kind of food after so many days of boiled vegetables. But Baba was particular that they should eat well. Once, when he came for lunch, he asked Kitty, you made only this much food today? No, you must cook more dishes so that everyone will have enough. So Kitty prepared another dish. Before leaving for France, Baba had told Mehera, you will be able to eat plenty of mushrooms, which Mehera was fond of. So Irene bought them often. But Baba told Naja to prepare them, since he knew Mehera would enjoy them more if they were cooked Indian style with fried onions and a dash of masala. I enjoyed those mushrooms with toast and bread. They were delicious. Though mushrooms remain her favorite dish in Cannes, Mera also enjoyed macaroni and cheese with bits of chicken in it. The sole exception to their all vegetarian cuisine, and there was plenty of fresh fruit. In the beginning, Baba ate his meal separately with Mera in the deep alcove near the staircase, where there was a small table. But after a few days, he began inviting the Western women who visited in the mornings from the other house to eat lunch at Villa Caldana with the Easterners. These included Ruano, Nani, Delia, Anita De Caro, and Anita's best friend, Andre Aron. Baba too joined everyone at the long dining table. But since Baba's meal consisted of only rice and dal or curry, he ate quickly. Before we could finish the bread and vegetables, Baba finished and washed his hands in the sink. Rice doesn't require much chewing, Mera noted, and besides, Baba always ate quickly. While the others finished their lunch, Baba walked around them, leaning over. He sometimes even put food into their mouths with his hand. Elizabeth knew how much Baba loved games, so she hung a large dartboard on one side of the dining room walls. Sometimes, after finishing his meal and washing his hands, Baba took a few darts from the box and played. The women turned and watched as they ate. I tried to finish my food before the others, Mera said. More words. I wanted to play darts with Baba. I ate as fast as I could, washed my hands, and joined him. Baba threw the darts 2 or 3 times and then handed them to me to throw. I played but couldn't hit the bullseye, which Baba hit almost every time. But by the time the others were finished eating, Baba had finished the game, but sometimes he waited for the others and gave them a turn too. After a little while, he left for the other villa. Although Baba ate lunch with them nearly every day, he stayed for dinner only a few times. One evening, Norina placed silver candlesticks on the table. Tonight, we will have supper with Baba by candlelight, she announced grandly. They all thought it was a splendid, romantic idea and dressed up for the occasion, while Norina arranged the table magnificently. Atmosphere was charming. Baba came to the softly lit dining room where all had assembled. Baba said, "It looks beautiful, wonderful. I'm so happy. Who thought of this?" The women said that it was Norina's idea, and she was called for some special avataric attention. Baba patted her back and caressed her chin. He repeated, "I'm so happy," but added, snapping his fingers, "Now put on the lights." Norina's face fell, but she kept quiet and did as she was told. Baba loved lights, Mera explained. He was never fond of dimly lit rooms. The Eastern women, particularly Mera, were extremely shy and reserved then. Mani related, it was only in the latter years, that we began coming out of ourselves much more. In Khan, we didn't say things openly to the Westerners. Khorshid was not so shy, however, and Kitty and Rano got the wrong impression about her. She always told them things from Baba as if it were a command, for instance. And they thought she was being bossy. In truth, Khorshid did not know much English or how to phrase things politely. She did not mean to offend them, but she did. Politeness was a big issue. Mehera related, Kitty and Rana were always doing things for us in Khan. We weren't in the habit of saying thank you for these small favors, but we heard that the Westerners had noticed this. Not wanting to offend them, we began saying thank you for the smallest thing. In the end, Kitty and Ronald got so fed up, they said, please stop saying thank you so much. It was much better when you acted naturally. The day after they arrived in Cannes, the Eastern women were told that a French woman had been engaged to come to their villa and wash their hair. Elizabeth had arranged it to give us a nice feeling, something new, a hairdresser. Kitty taught the women to say, merci beaucoup. So while the French woman was washing their hair, to everything she said or asked, they kept repeating the only French they knew, merci beaucoup. With all this formality around the other Westerners, Irene's outgoing personality was a relief. She bought knitting needles and wool. She bought knitting needles and wool and taught the women to knit socks. One day, Irene asked Mehera, would Baba like it if I danced? I would love to dance for him. Mehera replied excitedly, of course, Baba loves music, singing, and dancing. Irene began practicing. When Baba came, Mehera told him of Irene's wish, and that evening, Irene put on a lovely light green satin evening gown. Holding the flowing skirt, she pirouetted as the blue Danube played on the phonograph. In Cannes, she said later, I did 2 dances for Baba in a pale green party dress, my hair open and my feet bare. I'm not a dancer, but I was so full of doing something for Baba. Baba had clapped and rewarded Irene with an embrace. The sidebar says Irene would bring the beans and other vegetables upstairs from the kitchen to the drawing room and sit with the Eastern women who all pitched in to help her clean them. I guess green beans, maybe. In Cannes, here we go, full of drinks. For some time, they played charades every night. They were 2 teams, Baba, Mehera, and Irina, and Mani, and anyone else who wanted to play. Baba always found out the word, no matter how complicated we made it, Mani said. We would make it so elaborate to try to prolong the game. as Baba always guessed the word so quickly. If the word was tea, for example, we pretended to pour it from a kettle. Mehera continued. Norina was full of ideas. Baba, darling, you must do this. Baba, darling, this doesn't look good on you, she would say. She loved Baba very deeply. One night, for Baba to play the part of Moses, Norina tied a black Italian lace scarf around Baba's chin as a beard. He wore this beard and a white robe with his hair loose. Mehera recalled, Baba looked so new, so different. When he came on the scene, everyone laughed and clapped. How do I look? He asked. Once Rano played the part of a dragon, attaching a long green sari for a tail. Hissing and growling, she climbed over the furniture, acting out the part. Baba knew immediately what the word was, but they told him not to tell so that they could enjoy more of Rano's dramatic portrayal. I would have liked to see that. Huh?
Yeah.
The women enjoyed these evenings of fun, but our beds got full of clothes from what people use for charades, just tidying up afterwards. Folding things and putting things back took an hour. And the sidebar says, Delia recalled a night when Baba played the part of a surgeon and operated on one of them. Everyone wanted to be on Baba's side, Delia said. Yeah. The women enjoyed these evenings of fun, but our beds got, oh, I already said that, got full of clothes. Toward the end of their stay, it became somewhat of an inconvenience, so they had already packed most of their things. For the evening charades, they had to unpack just to take out the costumes. When they were not playing charades, Baba sat on a couch, the women around him, Irene recalled. Often Mehera would put her head on Baba's arm, and my head would be on his lap. Wow. That was Irene. Wow. Norina loved to amuse Baba, to say something funny and make him smile. She declared, Baba, give the word and I will marry the Nizam of Hyderabad. He is fabulously wealthy, one of the richest men in the world. I love you so much. I would do anything for you, even marry the Nizam so that I could sneak all his money to you on the sly. Baba loved listening to Norina narrate humorous incidents from her life. Mani said, Norina could take any tiny instance, Mani said, elaborate it and make it big, beautiful, and exciting. Norina always had something witty to say, Mehera concurred, or an amusing story to tell Baba when he was sitting with us or waiting for his food to be served. Once, Norina told Baba a story about herself when she was a young woman in Florence, Italy. She was wearing high heels and her best dress walking down the street, carrying a purse. Suddenly, a thief grabbed the purse. Norina gave pursuit, running down the street in her high-heeled shoes and elegant haute couture dress. She shouted, "Thief! Thief!" like a mad woman. Nobody remembered whether Norina ever caught the thief, but Baba laughed as I've lost my place. So Baba laughed as he pictured it. Baba never liked a dull moment, Mehera concluded, and Norina knew it. She wanted Baba to be entertained. She had a very descriptive, funny way of telling the story, which Baba appreciated. Baba loved the ones who could make him laugh. And both Norina and Anita DeCaro, like Dr. Ghani, had this gift. Yet, Baba had to sacrifice his full enjoyment by suppressing his laughter. But there were limits. In an attempt at humor, Anita made the sign of the cross and started reciting the Lord's Prayer in a squeaky, comical voice. Baba stopped and, pointing to himself, declared, "I am the Lord." Anita bowed to him and sought his forgiveness. At another time, Baba was amused when Anita remarked, "You were drunk when you made me." Anita was a young American artist and told Baba that she wanted to return to India with him. "Why do you want to go to India?" he asked. "Don't you look enough like an Indian already?" Anita had dark hair and Mediterranean features. Baba also enjoyed playing practical jokes on Anita. Sometimes, when she was called to his room, she did not see him. "Where's Baba?" she asked. Bewildered Baba, who was hiding behind the door, popped out, startled her. Anita had met Baba in America in 1931 through Narina, but she had never met Mehera or the other women Mandali before coming to Cannes. When Narina came back from India, Anita related, she spoke to me about Mehera as the opposite element of Baba. It was something new, but it didn't surprise me. Baba had once told me, "Wait till you meet the girls in India." Wait, hold it. I'm going to get that sidebar a little bit down. Okay. Anita once asked Baba about the spiritual teacher, George Gurdjieff. Much in vogue at the time, Baba commented, "He has some of the truth, but not all of the truth." Okay. When Narina came back from India, Anita related, she spoke to me about Mehera as the opposite element of Baba. It was something new, but it didn't surprise me. Baba had once told me, "Wait till you meet the girls in India. Then you will see," which remained a bit mysterious to me. I wasn't really aware of them till Norina told me about them. With Baba, there was nothing that was hazard, chance. With Baba, there was nothing that was chance. With time, I realized more and more there was never such a thing as a chance or hazard. Everything had its definite planning and its definite understanding, which later on becomes extraordinary. When I arrived in Cannes, Baba again said, "Wait until you meet the girls." They were living in a villa up on a hill. It was really a beautiful moment. I was taken up to meet them. I must say that it wasn't at all as if I met anyone that I hadn't met before. It was amazing, the contact. Even though they had been born and brought up in India, and I in America and Europe, it was a contact of being as if we had always known each other. And of course, the beauty of Mehera was absolutely startling. From the minute I saw her, first of all, being interested in art, I would refer to things from an artistic viewpoint. The shape of her face was like a precious Persian print. In Persian poetry, they always speak of the face shaped like a heart. Hers was like a heart. The chin came down to a slight point. The cheek points were rather high, and the coloring of her skin was very beautiful. What was impressive about her was the bone structure. She had a very fine, extreme refinement of bone. The construction of her face was very interesting. Her eyes were like those seen in a Persian print. I used to love to watch Mehera. With her typically Persian bone structure, her eyes slanting up, long, shining, dark hair, incredible purity in her face. There was a great feeling of purity when you saw her. She was extremely beautiful and had a very interesting way of walking with a straight back. All her movements were very gentle. There was nothing weak about her. I like that. There was nothing weak about her. She had an inner strength of some sort, and the quality of love. You felt that she was capable of loving, of caring. Probably that's the most important thing. When I first met her, I didn't know about her specialness. Just as you can't treat certain materials in a rough way, she had to be very gently treated because of the delicate nature of her material, what we call in France in matière. It was of extreme purity, highly evolved. You can't handle silk in the same way you handle rough burlap. There's a difference. In the scale, she had an important role to play because of her extreme refinement, her extreme value of distinction. She had tremendous fragility. I don't mean she couldn't cope with things. She went through tremendous obedience. Obedience in her was of tremendous value. As I said, I used to be fascinated watching Mehera. While we were eating, she would come in with Baba. She was a vision of great beauty, of real beauty. I couldn't separate the beauty that I saw in Mehera and Baba. when they were, I need more words. I couldn't separate the beauty that I saw in Mary and Baba when they were together. You can't say it was equal. There was a reflection of such purity, the great gentleness, the great refinement. There was something aristocratic about her, a feeling of aristocracy in a sense. Her manners, she had exquisite, beautiful manners that came from a great love. And her naturalness in her manners, that was very important. In her voice, there was a kind of hesitation when she was speaking. Oh, 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 she would say, kind of rippling, like light rippling on the surface of water. And I have to add here something important. Phyllis, let's see, Anita described Mehera as light on rippling water, and Phyllis Frederick named her book of poetry with that title because of Anita saying her incredible beauty, and her hair was like waves, clear down, very long hair, and rippling, just wavy, but absolutely beautiful. I love that again. In her voice, there was a kind of hesitation when she was speaking. Oh, oh, oh. She would say, kind of rippling, like light rippling on the surface of water. When I met the girls on the hill in Cannes, I never had a feeling of separation or shyness. We were very free with each other. When we were together, Baba would be away. All our concentration was on planning things, plays for Baba when he returned, to take away some of the weight of his work. For example, let's say Baba was an executive who had a very deep role to play. He went out of his house to his business office. When he came back to his family who felt this role, they wanted something gay for him, something to allow him to forget his work. So all our planning was to take the pleasure away, the pressure. So all our planning was to take the pressure away from Baba. We wanted to amuse him, to make him comfortable. Kitty would be teaching Mehera to play the piano in a corner, while Mani and I would be making costumes or writing down sketches. The love for Baba made you creative in that you wanted to do something for him. Mehera herself said that something Baba told a visitor in Cannes made a lasting impression on her. Love means a life of giving without expectation of receiving any reward. As Baba put it another day, the goal of life is not finding God, but losing yourself. As Baba put it another way, another day, the goal of life is not finding God, but losing yourself. Irene, who had not met Baba before coming to Cannes, said simply, I felt that I had come back. I had come home. But always in the background was the world crisis that was uprooting long established conditions and sending many into the world homeless. This too was Baba's work, as he revealed in private conversation with them.
And there are Mara and Baba.
Look at that picture. Look at Baba's eyes. It is, wow, you must have been looking at the world condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a side picture, but
Yeah. Yeah. I love that picture. There's Tsunamasi in the front. And that's Anita, right to the left in the picture of
that
Bob.
is Anita.
Anita DiCarlo, yeah.
And that's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, that's Mara,
Mhm.
always on Baba's right side. And then Mani's in the front to the left. And then that's Naja, Baba's cousin, left of Mani.
Mhm.
And then that's let's see. There's Irene Bilu, her head, curly hair, on Baba's, well, our right side of Baba. No, the other side. Now see, that's Naja. Yeah. Okay, and this is Khorshid, kind of her nose is on the pointed side. And I believe that's Khorshid.
But who's this?
I don't recognize. Let's see, what are the names?
Andre?
I bet that is Andre because I don't recognize that person. That was I guess a friend of Norina's. And let's see, of course, unknown. Andre Walu, of course, Walu is clear on the right. She's an Indian woman, kind of. That's Walu, clear at the back there, yeah. And that's the dog, a furry dog. Canooter, I don't know.
Who is
Yeah.
the woman to the right of Khorshid?
I'm trying to think. It's
I
not.
think it might be Andre.
Andre,
Well, I think.
there are two of them. There are two Western women.
Yeah, that's. Let me see the names again. Let's see. What is this? Delia Khorshid, unknown. That's not Andre. I have a feeling Andre is not the woman in back, but the next woman with her hand on the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, that could be Norina in a way. Her face kind of the shape of Norina. And then of course that's Waldo. It's a great picture. It's a great picture.
Yeah.
The video account here at Meher Center of Irene Bilu's work, it's in the library where you can listen to it. It's quite delightful because she was a teenager and all of a sudden set in
Hello?
this.
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to follow up from today's appointment, if you have a moment.
Oh,
Go ahead. And that's a great picture of Baba standing. I guess Mira was having a piano lesson. Kitty was teaching her. See how long Mira's hair is clear down her back? Yeah.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
I have to say, Mira's voice, when even to think of it and to hear her laugh was just such a gift to hear her laugh. And I read something about laughter cleanses the subconscious, but I think with Mara, she didn't need the cleansing. So you get this incredible laugh. Just, it was uplifting is all I could say. Yeah.
yeah. And there they are in the living room at Villa Caldana.
Wow. I love seeing Baba leaning on the piano, holding court.
Yes. Who would like to read this holding court?
I can read next. You go till 3 o'clock,
3.
right? Okay, so just okay, sure.
So
you-
let's just do one page.
Okay.
Thank you. I loved reading about Mary. I love it. My favorite.
36, holding court. Cannes in the summer of 1937 was a haven for the rich, famous, and influential. As one newspaper described it, Cannes found its true vocation before its time, tourism. Soon the town, overlooking the Connage Reed marshlands, hence its name, was to become the brightest, liveliest, most photographed spot in the world. Following the British gentry was a glittering parade of film stars, archdukes, kings, and consorts from the world over, who transformed the town into a domain of fabulous villas and palaces. It was an international community. When Norina had rented Villa Caldana, she had been in competition with the 4 Indian princes of Mysore, Kapurthala, Indore, and Nepal. Housing was scarce. The world was on the verge of upheaval with the Spanish Civil War raging, China and Japan recently at war, and Adolf Hitler consolidating power in Germany. And everyone, it seemed, wanted to be on the Riviera that season. They all came for the sun, but ended up basking in quite a different light as Norina introduced the creme de la creme to Sri Meher Baba. Norina, because of her background and lifestyle, knew all the current, prominent, greatest top people of the time in every field of life. Mani explained. She wanted to bring them all for Baba, and Norina had a personality that could charm and melt a stone. At Capo di Monte, Baba met daily in the mornings and afternoons with those wishing an interview, holding court for an aristocracy soon to vanish in another world war, and for his lovers, the links to a new world order. Among the beautiful people, however, Meher Baba was the most beautiful. On 21 August 1937, he went to a Monte Carlo casino with Norina and Elizabeth, dressed incognito in a beret from Mercedes de Acosta, and from Norina, an expensive black Italian officer's cape with brass buttons and a silver clasp. Baba wore the cape draped over his shoulders, and Mehera recalled, Baba came especially to our rooms to show us how he was going. He swept back the cape as he entered. Baba looked so handsome in his Western clothes and that cape. With his fair skin, he looked just like a Frenchman. So he blessed the casino also by going there. Rano too remembered how Baba looked that night. Baba grandly swept the cape over his shoulder as he came down the stairs where we were waiting. We all looked at him with our mouths open. Baba looked like a million. He was at his most breathtaking. He looked magnificent. And on the side, do you want to scroll up a little and I'll read it? Mercedes had been invited to Nasik and Cannes, but she cabled that she would feel too dejected without Greta Garbo. When she finally came to Cannes in October, Baba told her, "You must come to India next year as soon as you can, and if possible, Greta to come with you." Instead, Mercedes traveled to India with Consuelo's sides, but she later drifted away from Baba and became a follower of Ramana Maharishi and then Krishnamurti.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for today. So I'll see you all next week, hopefully.
Thank you very much, Tina. Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Thank you for coming.
Jai Baba.